We now open this portion, dear friends, to the question and answer. And if you may have questions, please approach the two microphones in front of us. Or if you're shy to ask in front, you may actually write down your questions on a piece of paper and let me read those questions. And we kindly ask Sister Jayanti to answer those questions. So anyone who would like to ask the first question? Otherwise, I'll be the first one to ask Sister Jayanti. Okay, maybe we can entertain a question later after this question. Sister Jayanti, you touched something about fatigue and burnout earlier, and I can see many of our participants tonight are actually executives and professionals. How do we instill resilience in the workplace, considering that the workplace is now a battleground with high stress environments and where results are given actually more priority than well-being?
Can I think about it as a playground rather than a battleground? Which means that I have to learn to actually be quite detached. But detachment doesn't mean neglect or ignoring or cutting off. It means that not only am I engaged in doing something, but I can also step back and watch myself and also see what else is going on the whole scenario, instead of just looking at me and my little spot, but have a wider vision. And so in that stage, I'm the actor, but I'm also the observer. And because I'm the observer, I understand more about what's going on in a whole scenario. And so my response is going to be a more holistic one, rather than looking at things from a very narrow perspective. And it's going to change my approach to situations, to people, in a very dramatic way. And I'll have the capacity to do a lot more than I could have otherwise.
Thank you for those points, Sister Jayanti. Another playground, if not battleground, is the home front, where parents are actually constantly being challenged to manage their children who are actually exposed to peer pressure and the pressure of the social media. How can we empower the parents to be more resilient in handling these situations?
The power of love. When parents deeply understand that it's love that can help nurture the good qualities in their children, then parents expressing that love at all times rather than discipline is very important. There's an image that I was reminded of a long time ago, and that was that there is a balance between love and discipline. If there's a potter and he's at his wheel and there's wet clay, then when he's trying to shape that wet clay into something beautiful, it requires both the inner support, but on one hand he's supporting, and on the other hand he's patting. And so as the wheel turns, he's patting the clay into something that's valuable and beautiful. Maybe it's a vase, maybe it's a tumbler, whatever it is. But it needs the support first and foremost, but it also needs then the loving care and the touch to pat it into shape. And so that's the role of the parent. The child is absolutely wet clay, and the way the parents deal with the child is going to shape the child's future and support the child with love, but also very gently move the child along on the path of discipline, on the path that the parent knows is going to be one of safety and comfort for the child. So I think the trick is for the parent to have total love, but yes, also know when to be able to move things correctly.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti. We have a very interesting question here. How can the power of resilience help cope when a longtime friend betrays you. I want to be peaceful, but inside, I want to take revenge.
Can I learn about forgiving? Yes, I've been betrayed, but if I keep poison in my heart, who is it hurting? Not the one who's betrayed me, it's damaging me. And so when I understand that forgiveness is freedom, it's freedom for me, then I'm going to learn to forgive. Whatever is put out comes back. There's a boomerang effect. This is what all traditions have told us about. It's what I was referring to earlier. The seeds that we plant and the fruits that we receive. It's a tradition that is understood absolutely, a principle of the world, in fact, a universal principle. And so whatever the person has done, okay, I don't know what I've done to that person to deserve it, and I don't want to go into that. But what I want to do is to be free today. Revenge is going to continue the interaction, action and interaction, cause and effect, and it's never going to stop. But forgiveness is going to put an end to that story so that I can be free and move on with my life. And so I have to learn to be able to take God's love so that my heart becomes open and generous and I can forgive and let go.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti. I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who said that only the powerful can forgive. But can we really forgive and forget?
Not so easy, but at least let me forgive first. And then as I move forward on the path of meditation, spirituality, I have seen souls who are able to even forget, so that they're able to put a full stop and not go back to that thought or that memory. The memory has been cleansed.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask direct questions? There's one there. Yes.
Good evening. Thank you very much for sharing the power of meditation and recognizing the being inside. My question is a little bit closer to having the battleground within myself. So my question is, can I be resilient without faith?
Thank you for having the courage and the honesty to talk about yourself personally. For me, faith has been an important factor, and it started with faith in the divine, but it also then extended further to having faith in the self, knowing that I have that inner capacity of goodness, and through that connection with the divine, be able to draw that faith that's going to help me move towards victory. And so, yes, I think resilience and faith are very deeply connected.
Anyone who has a burning question? Sister Jayanti, you touched something about the law of action and reaction earlier, sowing the seeds of positive thoughts to create positive actions. If every action has a karmic consequence, how can we consciously sow seeds of good karma in our everyday lives, whether at home or in the workplace?
If I do something with the right intention, if the seed of that action is a good thought, then my good intentions, then whatever it is I'm doing can be part of that life that is good. For example, I'll share a little story that some of you may have heard before. A man was walking along and he saw people working. They were constructing something and they were laying bricks. And he stopped and he asked the first man, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm earning my livelihood." Walks along, comes to the next person. The man is also laying bricks. And he asks that man, "What are you doing?" And the man says, "I'm working so that I can take care of my family." Walks along a little bit further. Same task, bricklaying. "And what are you doing?" And the man says, "I'm building a cathedral." Action the same, but the consciousness is different. One is just me, the other is me and others. But the other is very pure, very elevated, and doing something with love for God. And so whether I'm cooking, whether I'm walking, whether I'm cleaning, whatever it is I do, if I do it in that spirit of the highest consciousness of who I am, and with love, with honesty, then that action is part of the creation of that better world. It's moving things in the right direction.
You also touched earlier on something about fear. Many people today struggle with uncertainty and fear. How can we use these challenges as opportunities for personal growth?
If I see life as a journey, then there's going to be different things that happen to me along that journey. But if I also see life as a journey towards perfection, every step that comes is carrying me further by teaching me what I have to do more, how I have to learn, how I have to grow, and it's carrying me to that destination of perfection. And so, not to be scared of challenges. You see, God is also a teacher. God is not only a parent with love and kindness and compassion, but also a teacher of great wisdom, of truth. And a teacher knows how to help a student move forward. And so whether I say it's life or whether I say it's God, but every step along the way, life is teaching, but God only sends such an exam that he knows I've been trained to be able to pass it. A teacher doesn't want a student to ever fail. And so there's going to be no exam that comes to me that's marked for failure, but rather it's a chance to succeed and move forward.
Early on, you led us into conducting a meditation. For beginners in meditation, how would we know if our meditation is effective and on the right track?
This isn't an advertisement, but I have to say that our meditation courses are free, and we teach people about how to use the mind in an accurate way, which is very different to what people's concept of meditation is often. They think meditation means having no thoughts. But Raj Yoga meditation says, have thoughts which are pure and elevated, connected with the awareness of my identity as a spiritual being, but also connected to my relationship with the divine and the qualities of the divine. And so it needs a little bit of training. And it doesn't happen instantly. We haven't bothered to train our minds. When you go for any training, how long does it take? It takes a little bit of a while. And it's not just once you go for a training. You go for constant learning, lifelong learning, many trainings. And so this training to be able to be the master of my mind is something that I have to cultivate and develop. And it's not a long course. It's not years and years. It's just 7 sessions. And if you contact the center in Makati, they'll explain more about it. But it's free. So come for the training and you'll discover how to be able to use the mind to its optimum level.
Thank you. Going back to the concern about forgiveness earlier, there is a concern here. You mentioned a while ago that forgiveness is the answer. Then, isn't silence misunderstood by others if we do not retaliate?
There is strength in silence. Silence isn't just passively sitting back, but if something has happened and I keep silent about it, knowing that coming back to it with aggression or in any other way is not very useful because it's just going to escalate. And so there's actually a great strength at that moment. And whether somebody recognizes it or not, at some point it becomes visible that this was the right way to approach something. But for me, I know that there isn't an alternative. I have to be able to merge it and finish it and move forward. They'll see me moving forward in my life and they'll be wondering, well, how come that's been possible? But it's been possible because of that power of forgiveness.
Here's another controversial question, Sister Jayanti. I am a school teacher and sowing of seeds for the future has interested me to attend this event. But with what's happening in the government, what thoughts should we be thinking right now?
We should be thinking about how there can be the power of goodness and truth and spend time collectively creating those thoughts so that the power of goodness is what actually emerges.
I hope the one who sent that concern must have must accept that answer. Anyway, there's another question here, Sister Jayanti. You've mentioned about the qualities of love, peace, joy, truth, and purity as the qualities of each human being to become resilient. How can these qualities be cultivated and imbibed under a condition of people who are under stress or are experiencing trauma?
There are so many situations that have caused trauma, 1,000 different things, and trauma not just in the mind, but then trauma experienced in the body also in many different ways. That if I have the interest to deal with things on a spiritual level, that interest is going to lead me to understand further about the self and the divine. And through that, when I make connection with the divine, whatever has happened in the past is whatever it was. But at this moment, the connection that I make with the divine is one in which I draw that experience of the qualities that have been mentioned, and it's a real experience for me. And the more I spend even a few minutes each day developing this and cultivating this experience, it helps me deal with the trauma that I may have been through. Sometimes people have had little traumas, sometimes it's been very major ones, but the solution on a spiritual level is to be able to draw God's love and power, and that's able to heal the self and allow these qualities to carry me forward.
We can probably entertain at least 2 more questions, so please keep them coming. This one, Sister Jayanti, deals about depression. How can we help introduce meditation to those who are undergoing depression?
I think more than actually teaching them, just try spending time with them, talking to them, and talking to them about good things, positive things, things that you know about them, helping them remember good things, so that that actually draws them gradually into a consciousness where they begin to understand more deeply the knowledge of the self. It's not so easy when there's actual depression happening to be able to take the mind yourself onto another level. And so a loving parent, a loving friend can help in that movement upwards, but also sometimes there is also a need for professional help, and not to be shy about that. So often there's a stigma attached to depression or any type of mental illness. And I think we have to have a very wide, broad perspective, knowing that the conditions of the world are such that it's actually an epidemic at the moment, pandemic. I remember it was in 2020, it was in the early 21st century, 2001, around there, that one of the chiefs from World Health Organization in Geneva was sharing with the gathering on the topic of social development. And at that time, he said that the next pandemic is going to be mental illness. And of course, he didn't know that COVID was coming along. But certainly at that time, nobody knew that mental illness would take on such a huge form as it has today. And so if it is something which is chronic, if it's something which is actually not something that can be dealt with at home or by a friend, then to suggest that the person takes help, and maybe it's medication that's needed. And after the medication, then there can be something more.
There's another rejoinder on the concern about forgiveness. There's a lot of injustice in the world and a lot of people who are not given a voice to speak up. In this light, how do you reconcile the notion of forgiveness, knowing that it might be misunderstood as non-helping?
If you want to fight injustice, it's not with aggression and violence that you can remove it. It has to be with the power of truth, the power of God's peace. And I'll share a story. One of our senior teachers was speaking in a small gathering, and she was speaking about forgiveness and peace and love and so on. And there's a person from Namibia who was there. And he was at that time quite an angry young man. And when Daddy spoke about these things, he challenged Daddy. And Daddy said, it's not with anger that you can remove injustice. And the power of Daddy's presence was such that he became silent. But some years later, I discovered that he's actually now running the center of Raj Yoga in Namibia. And so he understood somewhere along the way that there's a higher power that one can access and use that power to change situations.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti. Probably we can entertain one last question. Still writing. Maybe we can request if you can use the microphone on the floor. Okay. Please use the microphone.
Sister Jayanti, I am very impressed with how you speak, and I can see that you are at peace with yourself. Can you say something about yourself, how you were able to come to that level of self-awareness? And have you done, what level of transcendental meditation have you reached that you are now like that?
I've been on this journey for a long time, but it hasn't felt long. The years have gone by very, very quickly. I was very fortunate to have been introduced to these ideas at an early age. And then I got more attracted by music and fashion. And so during my teenage years, there was no meditation. As a child, there was, but then nothing during the teenage years. But I came back to it out of curiosity. I was curious, what are these people actually saying? And I went knocking on, some of you may have met her, Dadi Janki. Anyone met her? Some. I went knocking on Dadi Janki's door. I happened to be on a long holiday, a sabbatical actually from university in India. And what she said triggered my curiosity further, and I started studying. And again, my good fortune was that after that initial introduction, She came to stay in London as her base. She traveled the world many times, but London was her base for 40 years. And so I was exposed to a very senior yogi, and the questions that I had, I was able to take to her, and there was constant mentoring going on. So it was amazing fortune. And I'm very, very lucky that I had that opportunity. But also, I think, even today, even without having someone like Daddy as your personal mentor, if somebody is curious and wants to move forward with these ideas, they can do that. There'll be a way they can find.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti, for sharing your meditation experience. But maybe this is the last question. How long and how frequent should our meditation be to generate results?
I would suggest you start your day early, get up earlier than you're used to, as early as you can, and that extra time that you have, spend that time not just in meditation but also in spiritual study. Whatever text, whatever scripture empowers you, uplifts you, spend time studying that. And then through the day, don't just let meditation be reserved for the morning, full stop. We begin our day very early with meditation for about 45 minutes. But as I say, just start as you can and want to. But through the day, just as it's important to hydrate the body, hydrate the soul. Every time you take a glass of water or a cup of tea or whatever you drink, nobody's going to disturb you when you're drinking water. At that moment, let your thoughts turn inwards and upwards and take that power so that that flame of love for God stays alive through the day. And definitely at the end of the day, again spend, I won't be prescriptive, but whatever time you can give for yourself is going to be of benefit for you. But at night, do two things. First of all, express gratitude for whatever it is that's happened through the day, and let your meditation be of gratitude. But secondly, also do an audit for the self. What did I learn today? And secondly, what could I have done differently? That's it.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti, for graciously answering these questions with such clarity and depth. To further anchor the insights we received and lead us into another meditation experience, we now invite Sister Rajni, the National Coordinator of Brahma Kumaris Philippines and Japan, to lead us in a closing meditation.
Om Shanti, greetings of peace. So today, these few minutes, we are going to do meditation. So I invite you to look at Sister Jayanti's forehead, where the soul resides. And through the eyes, we communicate, giving, exchanging positive and peaceful vibration. Meditation means healing and right thoughts at the right moment. Just think in your mind that I am a being of peace. Being of light, a peaceful soul. Peace is a state of mind. I am peace. I think peaceful way, speak peaceful way, interact with peaceful way. This is what I am, a peaceful being. I take my attention away from this world, far away, beyond sky and stars, where I, the being of light, have come from, a sweet home, a silent home. I, the soul, peaceful soul, and my home is word of peace, the word of silence. That home where there is no sound, only frequency of silence, stillness, calmness, pure vibrations, very far away from this world of sound. I am in my home. In this home, the brightest star, the Supreme Soul, resides. Supreme Soul, the one who continued to give me the rays of peace, love, happiness, wisdom, power. To whom I call the Father of the soul. God the Father, to whom we all belong, the one who continues to give me the protection through silent way, giving me the feelings, the experience of deep security, safety, the stability, so that I can live the life of that security. Allow yourself to experience this safety, security, stability in your mind. Just being aware that I am a soul, peaceful soul. And God the Father is bestowing me with His love and protection. After experiencing this stillness, the feelings of love, safety, security, protection, I gently come back to this world of sound where I play my part, but carrying that stillness, interacting with others with calmness. I return to this world now. Om Shanti.
We are very grateful to Sister Jayanti and Sister Rajni for sharing their wisdom and presence with us tonight. And thank you to our audience as well for maintaining a very peaceful and serene atmosphere. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Merly Pimentel, the President of Brahma Kumaris Philippines, to present a token of appreciation to our special guests, Sister Jayanti and Sister Rajni. Can we give them both a big round of applause? We also have with us the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Brahma Kumaris, Ms. Lila Aseneta. Thank you once again, Sister Jayanti and Sister Rajni. As we come to the end of this evening's program, I invite you to once again reflect on the seeds that have been planted in your hearts tonight. We began with the question, what seeds of hope and resilience are you ready to plant? Now as we close, I ask you, what will you do to nurture those seeds as you live here tonight? By nurturing the seeds of peace, resilience, and hope within us, we contribute to creating a better, more compassionate world. At this point, we'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all those who have contributed to making this event a success. Special thanks to the Security Bank Corporation for generously providing this beautiful venue. Your support has made tonight possible. Our sincerest appreciation also goes to these organizations and communities present tonight. ASA Philippines Foundation, Cebuana Luwilier Foundation, Holy Family Home Philippines Foundation, Philippine National Police Center for Police Strategy Management, Prozel Pharmaceuticals, Sumitomo Mitsui Corporation, I hope I pronounced this right, Suore Francescane de Sacri Cuori, Torm Shipping Philippines, the local government units, Barangay 763 in Manila, Bel Air, Barangays Pembo, Guadalupe Viejo, Sembo and Hagonoy in Taguig, and NCDCP and Makati City Hall. Thank you very much to all of you. For those who wish to learn Raja Yoga meditation, there's another person who we would like to thank, Miss or Mr. Selim Sinignoglu. I hope I pronounced the name right, from Turkey. For those who wish to learn free Raja Yoga meditation, there are various BK centers in key cities nationwide. You may want to visit the BK main headquarters, which is also our Makati Center at Bagtikan Street, San Antonio Village near the Sacred Heart. You may reach us via our landline 8890-7960 or visit Brahma Kumaris Makati Facebook account to know the free meditation programs being offered. We also have a retreat center, the Center for Spiritual Learning, or CSL in Tagaytay. Please reach out through mobile 0917-502-0243. And CSL is also a Facebook account. Just type Brahma Kumaris Tagaytay Center in FB. Before our participants leave tonight, may we request you to fall in line and claim your special gifts from Sister Jayanti and Sister Rajni. Each one will receive a book authored by Sister Jayanti titled Practical Meditation and a Blessing or a Positive Thought that we can carry on as a reminder of tonight's program. Let us carry this beautiful experience forward into the world, confident that the seeds of hope we plant today will shape the future we wish to live in tomorrow. Thank you all for being part of this journey. Om Shanti and good evening.